Hey everybody, this is Anthony with VR Game Rankings. Welcome to another episode of our daily vlog series. It is Wednesday, January 24th. This is episode 83. And what I have on the docket for you guys today is I have two news stories to get into, and then I have two bits of game discussion to get into. I am going to talk about my experiences with the Inpatient, and I'm also going to talk about the Contagion, a demo that is available on Steam that is drawing a lot of praise. And so we're going to get into both of those in just a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and kick things off with the news. And the first story of the day is In Space is coming to the Oculus Rift tomorrow. Yes, In Space by Orange Bridge Studios will be arriving on the Oculus Rift tomorrow for the price of $15. And in the month of February, it will arrive on Steam, so HTC Vive players will be able to play this game in the month of February, but it does have a little bit of a short exclusivity window on the Oculus Rift. Now, we've talked about In Space a couple of times before. Of course, I played the PlayStation VR version of this game quite some time ago, and then we had the story that it was going to be coming to the Oculus Rift sometime in the month of January. Well, it has arrived. Well, it arrives tomorrow anyway, and this is a pretty good deal. We're talking $15. This is a single player space sim. It is very similar to, say, an Eve Valkyrie type game, except with a very single player focused campaign is what you're getting here. And the nice thing about this HTC Vive and Oculus Rift versions of the game is that these versions have been expanded. They have been remastered. They've been enhanced. There is new content, better visuals, and new motion controller based controls are also included. Both the Vive and the Rift versions will feature high resolution models and textures, increased shadow quality, and post-processing effects. The other thing about this game too is that In Space is going to support pretty much almost any control scheme you can imagine. You can play this game with an Xbox controller. If you are an Oculus Rift player, you can go ahead and use your Xbox controller if you'd like. You can use your Oculus Touch controllers, and it even has HOTAS support as well. So all the options are provided. Orange Bridge Studios, of course, is the developer of this game. Originally, I believe it did start out on the Gear VR and then, of course, made its way over to PlayStation VR, and now these are the PC VR versions of the game. And I think the $15 price is a good idea. I have to imagine that a part of that is the fact that Eve Valkyrie has been on sale a number of times, and Elite Dangerous has been on sale recently. In fact, I think it was 75% off very recently. And so you've been able to get some of these other space sim type games for pretty cheap. So I think Orange Bridge Studios, their idea here is let's come in at a relatively bargain basement price, and this could help us out, and I think it will. $15. This game was a great game on PSVR. I really enjoyed it. It is very colorful. It is very bright and vibrant. Now, of course, the one fly in the ointment when it comes to this game, at least the PlayStation VR version, I've said this before, is that the announcer, okay, so there is an announcer that talks to you over your headset when you're on these missions, and he kind of updates you on what you need to look for, what the goal of the current mission is, and those sorts of things. I felt that on the PlayStation VR version of the game, the announcer was really loud, almost overbearingly loud, but at the same time, his voice was a little bit garbled and it's hard to understand him. So the developer did add in the option for changing some of the settings and the volume so you could turn his voice down, but then the downside of that is you're not really hearing your instructions. So this version supposedly is remastered, it's expanded, it is enhanced. I don't know if they did anything with that voiceover work with the announcer, maybe if they redid some of that and so it's not quite as garbled and have the audio tuned a little bit better, that could be interesting. But the graphics are supposedly going to be a lot better in this Rift and Vive versions. So this could be a pretty cool game, especially if you're looking for more of that single player content and kind of more of an arcade kind of a game. This is not an Elite Dangerous type of game. This is much more like Eve Valkyrie, but it is very specifically single player. And if that's what you're looking for, this might not be a bad option, especially giving you a different flavor. And especially when it comes to the graphics, it's very colorful and bright, probably not very accurate towards the way space really is. But Orange Bridge Studios wanted to make this a very bright, colorful, beautiful game, and they did a pretty good job with that. So I am actually looking forward to the Oculus Rift version of the game, and obviously the Steam version of the game that will be coming in February. So look for that tomorrow if you are an Oculus Rift owner. Okay, story number 2 is the Vive Focus. The Vive Focus is now on sale in China. Now you can go ahead and grab the baby blue version of the Vive Focus for $670. And if you want the crappy white one, you can get it for $625. Quite the bargain, I'd have to say, you know? I mean, that is peanuts, really, right? Okay, well, the Chinese market is a very different market from here in the United States. There's a lot of different issues that go with that, so we can't really judge too much about this pricing. But the one thing that I can say is there are 40 different apps that are currently available on the mobile version of the Viveport store, which can be accessed if you have a Vive Focus headset or if you have any other headset that is going to be running the Vive Wave software. I don't believe any of other headsets are currently available right now, but I know there are some additional headsets that are coming that are going to actually run on this Vive Wave software platform. And those headsets will have access to the mobile version of Viveport. Now, the Vive Focus, of course, is based on Qualcomm's reference design. This was originally going to be part of the Google Daydream platform, but of course, HTC kind of backed away from that, and instead they are using Vive Wave, which is their own internally baked inside-out tracking code that they are using for the Vive Focus. Now, the Viveport platform, like I said, we have 40 apps on there right now. The breakdown in the apps, 60% of these are free and 40% of these are paid. 36% of the available apps is casual games. 18% is video-based content. 10% is hardcore games. 11% is education-based, and the remaining 25% is miscellaneous. Probably a lot of dating simulators, I have to imagine. Just kidding, but probably not kidding, right? Okay, so anyway, that is the Vive Focus. It is available in China as we speak right now. There's still no word on whether or not this will ever come stateside. This could just be an Eastern focused product, and we might not see it in the Western markets. Okay, so those are the only 2 news stories I wanted to get into because I do want to get into game discussion on 2 different games, the Inpatient and the Contagion, this demo that has been available on Steam that a lot of people are talking about. But let's go ahead and start it off with the Inpatient. So, man, here's the thing about the Inpatient, guys. I said previously that Supermassive Games is batting 2 for 2 with 2 home runs. I mean, these guys are batting 1,000. Everything has been great. You know, they gave us Until Dawn Rush of Blood, one of the best horror games in the VR market. One of the best horror games across all VR platforms. They gave us Tumble VR, one of the best puzzle games across all VR platforms. These guys can do no wrong, right? Well, not exactly. Unfortunately, they can do very wrong. And I have to say that the Inpatient is kind of a dud. There's no other way to say it. I forked over $40 to go ahead and grab this game yesterday, and I really wish I could get my $40 back because I don't feel like what they've delivered has fully stepped up to the plate. So what is going on with the Inpatient? Well, I'll kind of give you guys a breakdown of my experience with the game yesterday. Now, I have to warn you, there could be some minor spoilers here. So if you are very concerned about spoilers, you might want to just go ahead and skip ahead to the Contagion discussion and go ahead and skip this. I'll try not to spoil the game in any major way. I don't think anything that I'm going to say is like incredibly spoilerific, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I will just caution you that there could be some spoilers in what I'm going to be talking about. Okay, so basically I got the Inpatient relatively late yesterday, started the process, had to download the whole thing. That took a while. I was working on episode 82, doing episode 82 and all of that. So I really didn't worry about the Inpatient. Was able to play it last night. And when I decided to play the game, I wasn't sure, should I play the game standing up? Should I play the game sitting down? Should I play the game with a DualShock 4? Should I play the game with 2 Move controllers? I wasn't really sure how to do it. So what I decided to do is, well, let me start out, I'll stand up, I'll use 2 Move controllers, and I'll see how that goes. So that's how I started the game, standing up with 2 Move controllers. Now, when you get into the game, very quickly, you come to realize that you are in a wheelchair. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'm in a wheelchair, so this is probably meant to be played sitting down. So I went ahead and paused the game, took everything off, went and grabbed my chair, moved it into the appropriate spot. And not only that, I have my camera, my PlayStation VR camera, I locate it in 2 different spots, whether I'm standing or sitting. I move it up about 12 inches if I'm standing, move it down 12 inches if I'm sitting. And so originally I had it in a standing mode. I go get my chair, move the camera down, so now I'm sitting. So I'm playing the game sitting because I'm in a wheelchair. This makes sense, right? Okay, so I'm playing the game. Not too long later, guess what? You stand up, you get out of your wheelchair, and now you're starting to walk around. So then I thought, oh, well, maybe this is a standing game. Maybe I should switch back to standing. No, now I'm sitting down again. Now I'm standing up. Now I'm sitting down again. So there is a little bit of an issue here about how are you supposed to play this game? Do you play standing up or do you play sitting down? Now, because I moved my chair over into the right spot and I moved my camera down, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick with this. I'm going to play this sitting down. And I kind of wonder if that's the right way that I should have played it, because every time in the game when you're standing up, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right when you're sitting down, but you're playing a standing up character. I don't like that. And so one of the biggest problems of this game right from Jump Street is that I just don't feel like I can get in a proper flow with this sitting up, sitting down, constantly changing. So that was an issue for me. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about in terms of, well, another problem with this game is, where's the game? Like, where is the video game? Because all I've done in this game is you do dialogue. You have these dialogue choices, and the dialogue choices are basically A and B. It's very binary. You make one decision or another, and then based on these different decisions that you make, every once in a while, you make a decision and all these little butterflies start flying around. And that lets you know that is a butterfly effect. And what they're trying to tell you there is this decision that you've made has now changed the course of the game. And so you get that. But honestly, it's like, where is the game? Because all I'm doing is answering some questions here. So in terms of trying to describe the gameplay of the Inpatient, I would have to say that this is kind of like a point and click adventure. It's almost like a choose your own adventure kind of a game where you're just choosing between 2 different statements. I do have the voice recognition turned on. So what'll happen is you'll be talking to someone, they'll ask you a question, and then basically 2 possible answers will show up in front of you on the left side and the right side, 2 possible answers. And what you do is you look at the answer and you go ahead and say whatever the phrase is, and then your character will go ahead and say that phrase. And if you want, you don't have to have that voice recognition turned on. You can just look at whatever the phrase is and you can hold your trigger down at the appropriate time, and then he'll go ahead and say that phrase. So that's pretty much what you're doing here. There's a lot of interaction with characters, with human characters. And I will say, if there is one really bright side to the Inpatient, it is in the fact that you are working face to face with these human characters that do look pretty damn good. They do look pretty realistic. I know we've all seen the picture of the old man that kind of looks at you. He's kind of like a doctor or scientist or something that is working with you. We've seen this picture before, and he is in the game early on. He's obviously a very big part of this game, and he gets up in your face. He looks pretty good. I still feel that there is a little bit of a problem with scale. He seems almost the right size for a human, but sometimes when he gets really close to you, his head seems a little bit oversized. I've kind of noticed this with some of the other characters as well. I think this is a problem that we just have in VR in general, in trying to get the scale of things really perfected. It's a little bit difficult, but the best aspects of the Inpatient are definitely the human characters that you deal with, and then also the lighting. I think some of the lighting effects are very good in this game. Now, there are jump scares, there is some exploration that you do, and most of the game I found myself, now this is where we might get into spoiler territory here, most of the game I found myself in basically a cell, like you're in a sanitarium, you're in a place for insane people, basically, like criminally insane people. I don't know criminally, but definitely insane. And so you're in this room, this locked room, and you have a roommate. And so most of the game that I was in was interacting with this roommate, and just kind of you're stuck in this room. Eventually, it seems like everybody that is outside of the room is gone. Like all the people that work there, whoever was employed there, everybody is gone. Something happened, and you're stuck with this other guy, and you guys are kind of starving. You have no food. You're locked in this room. You can't get out the door. You can't get out the window. There's bars on the window. It's freezing cold outside anyway. Even if you could get out, you're in some type of mountain area where you probably would die in the snow, hypothermia or something like that, if you actually did get out of this room. So that's kind of the story that's going on in the game. And there is a story, and there is something going on here, but I'm not feeling it, okay? I'm just not feeling it. I'm sorry. Supermassive Games. I mean, I loved Rush of Blood. I love Tumble VR. This one is not doing it for me. Now, if the price was half, if this was $20 instead of $40, I could be a lot more lenient of this game and kind of understand it. But I really think the pricing is out of whack. I understand that supposedly there's all these different scenarios that you can get into as far as the game goes in terms of this butterfly effect and these branching storylines. I just don't know if it's worth it, because what happened was I was playing this game for probably an hour and 25 minutes or so. So I'm pretty far in there. You know, I don't know how close to the end I am, but I'm pretty far into this experience. And I had to stop at a certain point because I had to do something. I had to get out of the game and go do something else. But to be honest with you, I don't have a burning desire to go back into this game. And that is probably the most damning criticism I could put on this game, period, is that I don't have a burning desire to get back into it. And so that doesn't say very good things for this game. Now, I am going to go back into this. This is only a little bit over 2 hours, so I'm definitely going to run through this. I paid the full price for this game, so I got to get my money's worth out of it. I got to at least go through the entire game. I might even try playing it an additional time just to try to make a bunch of different decisions, so I kind of see what they're trying to go for with this branching storyline. But I gotta tell you, if you are a PlayStation VR owner and if you have not picked up the Inpatient yet, I would say don't do it. Go ahead and wait for a big sale. Now, I do believe there is a physical version of this game. I believe it's available on disc. So if you have a subscription to GameFly, or if you have a way that you could rent this disc, maybe go ahead and do that. But I don't think I would pay $40 for this. I just don't see it. And so, unfortunately, Supermassive Games, they were 2 for 2. They were batting 1,000 with 2 home runs. Well, now they got a strikeout as well. They are 2 for 3, 2 home runs, and a strikeout with a called third strike where they were just standing there looking as the ball just goes right down the plate, and the bat never left their shoulder. So, not a good situation for Supermassive Games with this game. I still love this developer, and I know that they tried to do something different here, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt in terms of, they're trying things, and this is a new medium, and we don't really know what's going on here as far as everybody has to try different things and see what works. I just don't think this works. And it's okay, but where's the game? Where's the actual game? So that's kind of my question with the Inpatient. And this is not a review. I haven't completely finished it yet, but I'm just giving you guys my initial impressions. Okay, so we've actually ran really long. I didn't think I would spend this long talking about the Inpatient. So the Contagion is going to have to wait for tomorrow. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I will get into the Contagion tomorrow. I want to make these shows a little bit shorter, not like these marathon length shows. I kind of want to be more in the 20-minute range. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, because if I want to spend time on Contagion, I want to talk about Contagion, and I don't want to be rushed. So we'll go ahead and leave that for Thursday's show, and I'm sure we'll have some additional news as well, and maybe more of my thoughts on the Inpatient and possibly some other games that I might be playing as well. So we'll definitely have some more stuff to talk about tomorrow on Thursday's episode. So I will see everybody tomorrow. Of course, this has been episode 83 for Wednesday, January 24th, and I will see everybody tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.